Welcome to Deep Thoughts with Philly 500. Shout out to the Cincinnati Bengals and the Los Angeles Rams on going to the Super Bowl. Two franchises that built their team totally opposite ways. The Bengals had 4 wins last year, proving that with 4 wins, you can go to the Super Bowl the following year if you have good quarterback play, good draft, good free agency. If you do the right things, you can build it back quicker. The Los Angeles Rams went all in, and it's paying off for them. So the Eagles have a choice to make. Build like the Rams, build like the Bengals. Either way, the Eagles are a lot closer than people think. Dallas still stinks. Yo, everybody, do it. King Dingbat here, and I hope everybody's having a great day. Hope you guys are doing well. I hope you enjoyed the AFC NFC Championship games yesterday. I thought they were absolutely fantastic, and I am super excited that we are actually getting fresh faces in the Super Bowl. I think it's going to be great seeing Burrow, seeing Stafford. I guess Mark Holmes can't go after saying Stafford is overrated anymore. He made it to the Super Bowl. Now, today's video is going to be more of me sharing my thoughts, right? This is like Deep Thoughts with Philly 500. Because over the last few days, and this really started, I want to say, Friday. I was on Twitter, which I don't go on a lot because I hate it. But I was on Twitter, and I saw this thing where it had a trade proposal, and it was the Eagles giving up the 15th and 16th pick. I believe it was the 15th. It might have been also Jalen Hurts, but I can't remember, so I'm not going to include him. But the 15th and 16th pick for Russell Wilson. Now, when I first saw it, my immediate was like, hell no, I'm not going to do that. But as the day went on, and I'm just sharing my thoughts with you guys today, okay? I'm just telling you my deep thoughts. But as the day went on, and then the next day, I kept thinking about this trade. Would I do that for Russell Wilson? Would I do that for Russell Wilson? And I was conflicted because I'm very conflicted because one hand, I like Jalen Hurts. I think he came a long way this year. I think he has potential. I think he has deserved the right to play next year and start. But on the other hand, we're talking about Russell Wilson. We're talking about an elite quarterback. And if you traded 2 picks, let's say 15th and 16th, you would still have a first-round pick to draft defense. And you would have an elite quarterback. And I started thinking about this. And I started thinking about the Tampa Bay game. I started saying to myself, if Russell Wilson was the quarterback versus Tampa Bay, do we win that game? Do we have a shot to win? Now, the defense didn't play good in the first half, but they kind of tightened up in the second half. And Russell Wilson, that looked like the type of game that Russell Wilson could pull out. It just does. I think we would have had a shot. I would. And that's not a shot at Jalen Hurts. I love Jalen Hurts. But he's not where he needs to be as a passer. I think we all agree on that. I think we all know he has work to do. No question about it. And so this has been going through my mind the last few days. And then yesterday, we watched the Cincinnati Bengals, right? And they wind up going to the Super Bowl. And watch Joe Burrow, watch the way he played, made big plays when he had to, especially when they're trailing. And he made some of them with his feet. The Kansas City, I thought, did some stupid things in that game. No question about it. But I mean, the Bengals are going to the Super Bowl. The Bengals, the Cincinnati Bengals, and shout out to them and their fans. One of my best friends is a Bengal fan. So I'm happy for him because he's been suffering since the 90s, 80s, 90s. But the Bengals won 4 games last year. We were worried last year that they were going to take Jamar Chase instead of offensive lineman because we wanted him to fall to the Eagles at 6 before the Eagles traded back. They are going to the Super Bowl after winning 4 games. So what they've showed us is if you draft well, if you sign the right players, and you have a quarterback that can play, you can get there. Now people say, well, you don't always have to have an elite quarterback to get to the Super Bowl. That's true. You could build a great team around a player, and then he can get you there. That's true, but it's a lot harder to do. It's a lot harder to do. Take the San Francisco 49ers, for instance. Right? They got to the NFC Championship game, but when they needed Garoppolo to make plays yesterday, he couldn't do it in the fourth quarter. Okay? In the Green Bay game, he had his special teams really helped them late in that game. They were losing. And then Dallas choked in the game. I mean, they were in a position to possibly win, and they choked. So I think it's a lot harder to win with a guy like Garoppolo than to win with a guy like Joe Burrow or an elite quarterback. Right? So, after watching the Bengals yesterday, all I keep thinking is, good draft, elite quarterback, some good free agents that fill holes. You're not going to fill every hole. Not every team is going to have no holes throughout their whole team. The Bengals don't have a good offensive line, but they're in the Super Bowl, and they got a chance to win. Okay? They went to Kansas City and won. So, to me, they knocked out the number 1 seed, too. I mean, to me, did they knock out... Oh, wait. I can't remember. Who the hell beat Tennessee? It was the Bengals, wasn't it the Bengals? So, like I said, to me, you have to have a quarterback. Okay? Now, we can stay with Hurts, go in, learn... and give him time, see if he develops into a passer. Hey, I'm not opposed to that. There's a good reason and there's a good argument for it. Okay, this isn't about choosing sides or which one I want. I'm just telling you what's going on in my head. I'm just being honest. Okay, so if the Eagles choose that route, I'm not opposed to it. However, what is the insurance policy if Hurts doesn't work out? What if you go into next year, you draft 3 players, let's say you draft 3 defensive linemen, or not defensive linemen, but defensive players, and then Hurts, it turns out he ain't the guy. Now you got to move on. You have 1 pick. You don't have an opportunity to really make a move. So you have to have insurance about one of those picks. So you got to trade one of those picks for a first-round pick next year, in my opinion. So you have insurance if Hurts doesn't work out. Hey, we could go that route. It's not the worst thing in the world. However, if the Eagles today were to acquire, and this is, I'm going back and forth. As you hear this, I'm going back and forth in my head. If the Eagles were to acquire, with 2 first-round picks, Russell Wilson, for argument's sake. Now, the Seahawks don't want to trade him. They don't want to trade him, but they may not have a choice. They said that they're not going to trade him unless he wants to trade. And, that sounds like he may. But let's say you acquire Russell Wilson right now. Russell Wilson's 33 years old. He'll be 34 in November. So he's probably got, in my opinion, 4 years left. 4 good years. Okay? You see what an elite quarterback can do. It can fix a lot of the holes that you have that you won't be able to fill. Plus, Russell Wilson's never played with offensive line like this. The Eagles have a good offensive line. Maybe you get a Russell Wilson. Kelsey is going to give it 1 more year. So, Russell Wilson would not have an offensive line like this. He hasn't had one. Okay? He would have a great offensive line, which would add to his years in the league. Hopefully, it would lengthen his career. Now, if you acquired Russell Wilson, you make a few good draft picks. You get another pass rusher. You make some moves because you got to go into win now mode. That the Eagles could be right back in this thing really, really quick. I mean, I'm talking about next year. They could have a shot next year. Russell Wilson immediately makes the Eagles a contender. He makes them a contender, in my opinion. People say, well, he's old. He had a bad year last year. He was hurt. He still threw 25 touchdowns. The year before that, he threw 40, and then there's a bunch of 30s. Russell Wilson is going to be fine. I mean, this is what's going... Damn, I look like Denzel Washington today. Woo! But this is what's going through my mind. I could see both avenues here. If you draft Jalen, if you're going to stick with Jalen Hurts, you got to build around him. You got to have an insurance policy, and you got to hope that he develops. You're probably talking at least 2 more years to be true competitors for a Super Bowl. If you get Russell Wilson, I think overnight you become an instant contender for the Super Bowl. I do. And you got to make some right moves. The Eagles still have to get defensive line. They got to get another edge rusher. They need edge rushers. They still have to get another safety, a linebacker. I think they need interior linemen. An outside wide receiver. We've talked about that. Or not another, just another wide receiver. I want Christian Kirk, but that's just me. So my point is, you hear some people are for it, some people are against it. I don't think necessarily either avenue is wrong. I don't think there's a right or wrong. I think there's two different philosophies here. And I'm battling right now between the two. Which one to do? And it's fascinating because you have 3 first-round picks. If you traded 2 and still had a first-round pick and you could get, let's say, Sauce Gardner or a defensive end, and you get an elite quarterback in Russell Wilson who gives you, 4 more years? I mean, and we know how he is very good at manipulating the cap, getting cap room, because you go into win now mode. You're gonna give yourself a 3-4 year window, then you're gonna have to do this all over again. That's the downside of it. That you have to build, and it's only for a short time. If you keep Jalen Hurts and he develops into a good quarterback and a good passer, then you have a window that's 6, 7, 8 years. So do you want the length, the longer window and those possibilities, or do you want the sure thing of the next 4 years you're going to compete? That's where I'm kind of at. That is what is on my mind today. I don't know. We're going to hear a lot of quarterback rumors. They're already talking about Deshaun Watson again, Dan Sileo. It's hard for me to believe any of the Watson stuff until he takes care of off-the-field stuff. Now, if Deshaun Watson was cleared of all his off-the-field stuff, yeah, of course I would be interested in him. Definitely, because he's so young. I don't know what the right answer is. I really don't. I want to know what you guys think. I have the Russell Wilson, make the trade, go get him on this shoulder, if possible. And then this is if possible. I don't know if it's possible. Russell Wilson may not want to come to Philly at all. He may want nothing to do with Philly. That's fine. I'm just saying, hypothetically, if the Eagles were in a position where they could acquire him, should they do it? Should they do it? That's the question. I got one shoulder saying yes. The other shoulder is saying no, stick with Jalen Hurts and try to develop him into a quarterback. Kind of going back and forth, but I think in my head, what I keep coming back to is if I had Russell Wilson on this roster tomorrow, the Eagles to me automatically become a contender. They automatically become better than Dallas. They now have the best quarterback in the division. And they automatically become a contender because Russell Wilson, being an elite quarterback, can fill and hide a lot of deficiencies. You're not gonna have a perfect team, okay? But that's why you have an elite quarterback, because they make you better. It's gonna be an interesting offseason. And I don't have all the answers. I'm not going to pretend to. I go back and forth on this all the time because I really like Jalen Hurts. I do. I think the kid is good. I think he improved so much. But the question is will he take the next step? And if he doesn't, do the Eagles have an insurance plan? Because in this league, in my opinion, you have to have a quarterback. Let me know what you guys think of the situation. Like, which approach would you go? Would you go for the short 3-4 year, try to win it all again approach? Look at the Rams. They did it in 1 year, and they got a chance. Or do you go for develop, and hopefully he develops into a quarterback, Jalen Hurts, and then he becomes the guy for 8, 9, 10 years? If I knew for sure Hurts would be developing to pure passer, or not pure passer, but a better passer and be good, I would go with that in a second. But Russell Wilson is Russell Wilson. So, going to be interesting. With that said, take care. Talk to you later. Of course, don't be a dingbat. So, I got finished this video and I really wanted to add this part to it that I didn't earlier. But think about this. You have the Rams in the Super Bowl and the Bengals in the Super Bowl, okay? Both these teams got there with two different approaches, okay? We talk about Russell Wilson in a short-term window. That's kind of what the Rams did. The Rams did it to even crazier level where they're basically all in. And then you have the Bengals, who drafted a young quarterback only in his second year, drafted a good wide receiver, built this team and is building this team for the long term. Now the Rams, they got a shot this year, maybe next year. They got a short window. The Bengals are going to be good for 7-8 years. If, as long as they do the right things, Burrow stays healthy. So it really, both ways can work. The question is what do the Eagles do, and what is Howie Roseman thinking? With that said, take care. Talk to you later. Denzel Washington, out.